Okay, guys, so I'm back here. We're going to carry on with the next choice from the poll that we did on Twitter the other day, and that was for Ripple. Again, it wasn't specified whether you just wanted Ripple to the dollar or Ripple to Bitcoin. If you looked at it, right, you know it's ugly relative to Bitcoins, particularly with the tear that Bitcoin is on. So I thought maybe we'd look here at the dollar, see if there's anything. Jesus, I mean, hey, you know, they're all so it's so ugly here. You know, so you look at this and you go, well, okay, all right, so should we get a count on that? Well, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's not helping me. It's not adding anything to, yeah, for sure we can work through some WXY, XYZ, but is it helping you? Is it doing anything to help you identify where we are, where we could be going? Well, let me say it this way. I think you're a bit late to be a seller. Now, you know, what are we at, 29 cents? You know, yeah, could you make money shorting it? But, you know, you're awfully late to that party, right? Why? It's just, you have way more risk to the upside if you're trying to short down here. We're at the long term. We're at the base of the long-term support here. You know, I've got a yellow line here that's just, I just wicked off some of the prior resistance here, potentially. Now it's been broken several times. But maybe as we sit here, we're hovering around here's point of control. Now, granted, that is visible range. It doesn't change much more as I add it. So you're absolutely at base level support. Now, there are a few technical things worth noting here, but trying to put a count on this, I just don't think it's adding value to any trading decision that you're making. Here's what I do see, and I think we've shown these several times here. So if I grab, right, you'll recall because I try to remind you guys as often as I can that this pattern here is one that's very reliable. So this A, B, C, and then the next retrace. Very good. We know the algo's like that, and of course here's just a fucking stunning example of it, tick to tick. Right, I promise you guys that is not random. Okay, so there you go. So there's just a straight tick-to-tick example of it here, and then we're just bouncing on that algo target. Now, I think it's unlikely that algorithms didn't take profit here, and that they're back to finish off their buying out of their shorts here, because this just continues. So just as you would with any series, then you just pull it here, and so here's a couple of ticks front run on the golden zone. That's going to have a target down here. So is it worth taking the risk to try and short this to get from 28 to 21.6? You know, I wouldn't do it. Right? So we sit here and we do it again. So if I pull to the lower low, so here we get this one. That's damn near the same thing. Like, so a couple of tick front run on the 618, a couple of tick front run on the 618. That has this slightly higher target, right? Because the range is not. So we have a target box down here. Well, I mean, I wouldn't go after trying to get that distance. You know, what do we got there? Call the first one being 23. So you're trying to get 5 cents. So to make any money, you're going to have to lever that up. Why? Why would you do that? I just don't understand the thinking there. You know, could it go there? Well, of course. Shit, right? I mean, why would you assume anything other than it will go there? Right now, you trade these until they fail. Here's to the tick. Here's the entry. They're not to target. Here's another entry. So all of the opportunity has been to wait for the retrace. So if I were determined to short this, I'd at least wait for something to retrace, get me back to a golden zone, and then try and get that. But I certainly wouldn't be a seller down here as we sit at the long-term point of control, anticipating that we're just going to keep rolling over. Again, certainly it's possible. It's just the risk reward is not worth it. There's not much there technically. There's no reason, right? With all the choices on the board, why would you be looking to short there? So if anything, my assumption is people are interested here. They want to see if we can get a rally going. Well, you know, again, so I'm on an 8-hour here. So let me get all of this off here. Let me get all of that. Okay, so let's go down. Let's go to an hourly. Okay, so maybe you make a case here. So let's open this up a little bit. Okay, so maybe if you really want to work a trade into this, you could make a case for a diagonal here. You know, we got a slight overlap, so maybe you could say 1. Okay, all right, so fair enough. Okay, so we got an A, we got looks like a B here, trying to get a C down here. Well, let's see if we can put a trade together from the low to the high, on the assumption I've got a completed leading diagonal to give me a proposed 1 wave. Well, I'm looking for the 2, but I need from the 50 to 786. Note the tags into the golden zone, then we get the break here. So as an Elliott trader, it's not invalidating this count. Now, you know, so are we done yet? Well, I'm already down to the hourly. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you could make a case for it. You could get it. Yeah, let's go 30 minutes. You can see it in here. Can you really get a decent? Is this good enough? So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, it's there. So we could get that. Now let's get that down. Okay, so let me put the whole thing back together. Let's come down here. So AB, let's just look here. So if this is my A into the golden zone here, well, that's interesting. So we get a slight break on this side here. Break down here, so it's a little sloppy technically. But if you were looking for a trade, I suppose you could put a trade together here. So let's pull this off. Okay, so it kind of looks like you've got something going on here. So come back to retrace. So best case, you've got, you know, I'm already down to a 30 minutes, so you're going to have to just kind of go with instinct that's some sort of an impulse, right? It's one straight 30-minute bar. I wouldn't go down below that to the 5-minute and try and dig it out. Right now, until proven otherwise, that's a reasonable candidate. I got this double bottom down here. Here's my pivot. I come just shy of the golden zone. So yeah, I mean, there's you're a little late here. Now we've had a retrace here, so you want to see if the 2 is in, you know, you're looking for something. Well, you need a motive way here in your 1. So here's your target. So there's a trade here, I suppose. So we could get this up here if we're going to get a true third. That's our shorthand for the 1618. Oh, you see, it doesn't look like, so let me zoom in here. It looks like we're just putting in the A. It doesn't look like we'd be finished enough here to really, so let's think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that looks to me like we've just done the A wave here. Right? So that would be your first thought, right? There's 5 down. Maybe I can get the ABC here. So coming back, remember always an algo on the other side. So coming back the other direction. We don't know, right? So we don't really have enough here to call that top in. But if that were going to come down here, might as well use the algo target there. So if we can get this to complete, if we're going to get, you know, again, I don't know if we're done here or not, but we come down to something like that. Now we'd have a decent setup. So I like that better because I think you're pushing your luck here to try and force that into a completed correction, even though it holds. It's technical. Again, so why force something here where it could be, maybe, not sure, really looks more like a 5? Why would you force it? Right? So what are you concerned about? That if it just takes off here, you're gonna miss this move? You know, shit, what are we at, 30 cents there? There's just no reason to force a trade because there'll be so much opportunity to add along the way if this is going to start to roll. I mean, you lose perspective when you're down here on these lower time frames. You forget how far there is to go. So you come back to a 4-hour. I mean, just this move down here. So just using the dominant pivot here. So looking at this, right? Plenty of. If you miss this and it starts to go, man, there is plenty of opportunity here. So now you come back to put it into context. That's what we were looking for to get the 1 wave started. So if this is going to go from here into a 1, 2, and we're going to get the true 3, well, we need to get the 1 wave of that third. So this little trade that we were trying to, this little potential, right? It's nothing more than potential for a motive wave here, likely just setting up the 1, 2 of the third here. if that's going to go, right? We have no idea if it will, but that's what you're trying to set up. So you bring this back to the 30-minute and you go, well, sure looks to me like I've got more of a 5 coming down. Oh, pardon me, I'm over here. Sure looks to me like I've got more of a 5 here than I do a 3. So why take the risk here? I'd rather miss that trade because I don't particularly love the setup and I'm not dying to be long Ripple to the dollar. I'd rather wait and get something better here. If I can. If I miss it, so be it. Next trade. Next pair. There's no shortage of trades. So I wait, right? I'd rather miss a shitty trade even if it's a winner. Right? Because it just reinforces a bad habit. Well, I don't really like this, but I'm afraid I'm going to miss it, so I'm going to take it. That's essentially what you're saying. Well, if you're an Elliott trader, how are you getting a 3 out? How are you getting an ABC out of that? Well, you're going to go down to the 2-minute and try and dig it out? I wouldn't recommend that. I would just wait here. Right? Again, if you miss it, you miss it. If it comes down here and you get, well, then how's that going to look? So relative to this low, where's our, so we'd be after the 786, wouldn't be, certainly unusual to have the 2, right? The 2, whether it's a B or a 2, it's always a push to try and get to the pivots, right? Where they can anticipate there'll be stops there. So it's a push to get there that fails, right? That's what creates it. So if they're going to go down here and go after the 786, then that's the next thing traders see is that pivot, knowing that we've got a double bottom down here, knowing there'll be stops there, right? That's the fuel they're after to get to, right? To try and get from that point to get here where they can trigger those stops, which gives it the fuel, right, to keep going. So if you're going to hold here, the advantage of the entry here is you've got a very clearly defined point where you know you're wrong. And I don't know, I wouldn't take it that far. If I was going to buy in this, if I was going to buy in here in this little pocket, I'd use the 887 as my exit, right? Just to keep the risk reward reasonable here, because I don't love the trade so much that I want to give it all of this room. Why, right? I'd rather take the small loser, reevaluate. I may not even give it the 887. I mean, why? There's just no reason to do it. I'd rather take the small loser, reevaluate. Because ultimately, if let's say it comes down here and stops me out. Well, at some point, if it starts to go, there's going to be a 1 wave and then a 2, and then I try the same thing again, right? Can I get into the 3, right? With much smaller risk, right? There's just no reason to take that extra risk for a trade that's semi-shitty. Why? Why? No reason to do it. So maybe you get something like this. So we come up here. We get that. Now you got something to work with. So you get a better 3-wave structure here. Now you get a candidate for a corner pocket. So you have something and go, okay, I can see where that could be going. Now I can put a trade plan together. Okay, there 1, 2, got that turn. Target is the median line. There, that would be the -100. That's our shorthand for the 1618. So 1, 2, 3, looking for the 4. Now we're off and rolling. But no reason to force something here. All right, guys, that's as far as I can give you any input there. That's just at least how I would do it. I just don't see any reason to force your hand here. It's just the trade's not that good. All right, guys. We're gonna, of course, we'll do Bitcoin here. So I'll be back to you with one more.